Music Podcast.
I thought of another thing that I think is really important in modern dance music production that most people forget.
Yeah.
And that is leaving space. Almost always, you open up your DAW and you're making a beat or you're making some sounds and you have this 4-bar MIDI loop. And your tendency is to fill the entire 4-bar MIDI loop with notes on whatever patch you deemed cool enough to be the main sound, right? And then once you've done that, then you kind of get used to that melody or that bass line and the way that it flows into each other. And then by the time you go to like start adding other stuff, you're just like, man, this feels kind of static. This feels kind of amateurish. What is going on here? And I think most of the time is because you haven't thought about like how someone's like gonna play this, or like naturally like where the gaps to accentuate the rhythms should lie. That track that we did with Rave Gravy homies, the Festi checklist, is like the perfect example. Like the most of that MIDI pattern is filled up, and I'll play it for you, Tesko, just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about here. Most of the pattern is like full of notes doing different stuff, but there is like this perfect little break, like right after the downbeat. It goes like da-dun, da-dun, dun, 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 da-dun. But that little break makes the whole rest of the rhythm feel like it really flows. And it's just so easy to overlook that when you're working in a DAW and like you're just filling up the page, right? You're like, what are all my ideas? I'm just going to throw them all and fill everything up. But like a lot of the times it's better if you just leave some space for some shit to breathe and then get back into it.
You got to have some space between your ticket and your drugs.
You do. Because if you go to pull out your ticket and your drugs come out with it, you're gonna have a bad time.
They might just not let you in the festival at that point. They're like, oh yeah, that's you ain't gonna should have hit that better.
You ain't gonna get your hydration on if you don't have your drugs. Or
all your festival checklists in order to be admitted. Thank you and have a nice day. Ready to get your ticket. Drugs, ID, ticket, drugs, ID, ticket. Drugs, ID, ticket, drugs, ID. Better get your ticket. Drugs, ID, ticket, drugs, ID, ticket. Drugs, ID.
So it's like,
Dude, that's fire.
it almost feels full, but that little like just like ring out and break that you get from those first two notes is like just enough to like make it actually have a groove and rhythm.
Is that you, Luke?
Yes, it is.
It is.